Alrighty, so today I'm going to be speaking about ego versus intuition, and this is not going to be a textbook definition. This is going to be more so spiritual in a sense, mixed with logical. I've been through a lot of therapy, so I tend to, I see both sides of the coin and they all work together. So I want to make that very clear. So how I like to explain the ego versus your intuition is your ego is very loud, intuition is very quiet. The more you practice using your intuition, the stronger it becomes, the easier it becomes to hear over your ego. I like to say that your ego doesn't, your intuition doesn't have feelings, right? It's more of a matter of fact energy and sound or feeling. And how I can explain that, if you're feeling fear and anxiety, that is your ego. If it's more of a, that's what it is. That's usually your intuition. It's just a very monotone, dry answer. It's just, this is what it is. You might have feelings to what that dry answer is. But again, that's your ego, okay? Separate from the truth. Your intuition is that truth. It's that truth that you within yourself, that deep knowing, right? So I like to give examples of intuition versus ego. For me, for example, I've been in relationships or connections where deep down in my heart, I knew this is probably not for me. And I went through it anyway. And I went through it anyway because over the course of my life, I've been taught not to trust that intuition. And I feel like that is something that we as humans are taught usually. We're taught not to trust that feeling, usually from childhood. You know how they say babies can tell when, or little bitty kids, like they don't feel a person is good or kind. They tend to feel weary of them naturally. And we tend to get told, oh, that's your cousin, or that's just your uncle, or that's just your auntie, things like that. And little things like that over time tend to rip you or strip you or pull you away from your intuition, and you start not trusting that feeling anymore. And I think that's why we have a lot of people with anxiety as well, because your gut is telling you one thing and your ego is telling you something different. Society doesn't want you to trust that feeling. They want you to go by what rules are set out to be because it makes everybody else uncomfortable, right? And I'm here to dismantle that. I hate that shit with a passion. And I want people to trust themselves more so that they can be genuinely happy. It is not a fairy tale. This shit is real. It's a peaceful life to live when you do have a good grip on what are you being intuitively guided to do versus what's being told to you or what society wants you to do, right? I do feel that your intuition is your closest connection you have to source, God, the universe, Allah, whoever you pray or believe in. I feel like that intuition still stands true because whoever you feel created us or whatever you feel created us with an intuition. That's one thing we can all agree on, okay? And that intuition is something that not only, like, people think of animals and it's like their sixth sense, their ability to survive, right? That natural instinct, right? We have that as humans, but it's not because we're so complex. Humans are so complex. We need to also feel emotionally safe and mentally safe on top of physically safe, right? And that's where our intuition comes in and plays a role. We can feel when someone doesn't feel good to us, and we ignore that because of somebody's words or because they're moving different. Their actions seem to show something else, but we know we feel what we feel deep inside, right? And I am literally on a mission. I am on a freaking mission to get people to trust that voice a little bit more. That is like the core of everything I believe in. And I say that because I see so many people in unhappy marriages. I see so many people in unfulfilled marriages. I see so many people in unhappy and unfulfilled connections. I am a lover girl. I love, and I want everybody to feel it. And it's not fake, and it's not fairy tale. People think they can't live a beautiful life. People think that, a lot of people seem to feel hopeless. And I'm trying to give people that hope because it can happen. I've been depressed. I've been suicidal. I've been literally at my lowest, no job, no nothing, with kids, things like that. I've been there, and I'm not there anymore, okay? It gets better. It gets better, but it starts with you trusting yourself. It starts with you believing in yourself, right? And your abilities you're naturally born with. I want people to feel empowered, and I want people to understand the power that lies within them. And it literally starts and ends with you understanding what your intuition is and how to overcome your ego, because your ego will hold you back from so many things. Fear is ego driven, all right? Anger is also ego driven. The more you trust your intuition, the more your self-esteem builds, the more you begin to trust yourself, the more you begin to trust yourself to make decisions for you, the more confident you become. And that's all I want for people. I want people in unhealthy friendships, right? You know that this person, like, something keeps nagging at you, right? That nagging feeling is your intuition. Listen to it. If somebody is saying and doing one thing, but they feel energetically different to you, if something feels off, trust that. You shouldn't have to wait until somebody hurts you or do something negative to you to protect yourself, right? And you're only scared to move prior to because you don't trust yourself. You literally don't trust yourself. So you have to wait until somebody physically inflict pain upon you, or mentally or verbally inflict certain type of pain onto you before you do something for yourself. That's a low self-esteem, a low spiritual self-esteem, right? So I want to get people in a position where they can walk away from situations without needing somebody else to validate that or to tell them something, right? I want you to trust that little gut feeling. And I guess I can give an example of, if you're dating someone and you hear that little voice in your head, or if you feel that little gut, I like to say your intuition kind of like lies here, if you could feel that shit there. You can feel that little feeling where it's like, I like you, but this not it, right? You can choose to explore it just in case. When you start exploring it and you still have that feeling, that is your cue to be like, all right, this not for me. Because what's for you is it's annoying. It literally is annoying. What is for you, you're gonna feel confident in all aspects of yourself to move forward with it. There will be that doubt and that feeling. If you're just sitting there and you're like, this is my person, that's your intuition. If you're sitting there trying to rationalize, like, why I should be with this person. Should I be with this person because of this? What about this? You're usually moving out of an ego aspect of yourself. I'm trying to think of a good anecdote. I'm trying to think of a good story to really get you to grasp the ego versus the intuition. And what I can think of, I'm just gonna have to keep using myself as an example. I had an ego, but I had a huge ego. I was very egotistical in regards to love and relationships. Any little sign of you don't like me no more, or you don't want me, I'm big on I'm leaving. All right, no time to spare. And that has not been healthy for me, by the way. Because everything is not about me, right? Everybody has their own traumas, their own triggers, and why they react a certain way. And when people did not react in a way that I felt pacified my ego, I took that personally and I removed myself. That's me moving from my ego. But my intuition and what I know to be true is this person actually does care about me. This person actually does love me, and they have their own issues or traumas or triggers that they're working through, and that has nothing to do with me. That's me being intuitively guided. I know that and I understand that, but my ego and that fear kept coming in of, I don't want to be hurt, so I'm going to get up out of here. This feels too familiar to pain that I've felt in the past, triggers that I have not worked through, so I'm going to get out of here. My ego took over. Your ego has done its job at protecting you in the past, but you have to know when it is your ego versus your intuition. When I speak to people, I always ask questions like this, right? My therapist taught me this as well. How much of your situation, like if you had to put a percentage on it, how much of your situation or your feelings are fear-based? And that gives you an example. So like for me, if I'm leaving someone, why am I leaving? How much of this is led by me being scared of the outcome, or scared of you leaving me first, or scared that you're gonna hurt me? That's fear. So if I'm moving from fear, that's probably not the best time to move. You're not seeing things clearly. You're not seeing your person clearly. You're not seeing past yourself and your ego. That's a good way of navigating your ego in those moments. Am I feeling fear? If I'm feeling fear, why? And this, when it comes to dismantling your ego and what you're feeling in general, that is asking questions is a great way to get to the bottom of it. And talking to yourself in that manner might sound crazy, but it's a beautiful thing. It's very helpful. Am I scared right now? If I'm scared, why? Why am I scared? Okay. Where did that fear come from? How is this situation reminding me of this situation? Okay. Now that I understand that, let me look at this person clearly, or let me look at this situation clearly without my fear involved. What do I feel outside of fear? Is this person gonna hurt me? I don't really feel that way. I was a little scared about it because of this, but I don't really feel that way. That's you learning to listen to your intuition. There's also ways to practice listening to your intuition. It might sound crazy, but if you have there's intuition tests you can do on YouTube or something like that. You can do those things. Those things really do help. The more you practice listening to it, the more you sit in that calm state and you kind of filter out all the noise, you tend to understand what that intuition sounds like to you. I do it with my little cousins, and they're as young as 7. My nieces and nephews, I literally teach them. You guys, anybody in my family, I am teaching them to listen to that feeling, because I want them to be able to trust themselves above everybody, including me, including their parents, because we don't know it all, right? And as we get older, and people probably gonna hate that I said that, but I stand 10 toes down on that. We know what's best for us usually. We know what really feels good to us. We might need some guidance on how to make that, how to bring that to fruition in our physical world, or how to navigate that in our physical world. But deep inside, we're born with that feeling. I also like to remind people that the shit is real, because if you've ever said, damn, I could feel somebody staring at me, and you turn around and see somebody staring at you, you're in touch with your intuition. If you ever felt somebody talking about you, or you felt a family member or a friend or a lover sad or hurting, and you call them up, hey, I was just thinking about you, You followed your intuition. You followed your gut. So you have it. There's nothing, it is magical in its own right, but there's nothing foreign about what I'm saying. I'm more so trying to get you to understand that your ego tends to drown that out when it comes to things that you're scared to make a move on. So, for example, I'm gonna use different examples this time. You are at a job. When I say I've been through all this shit, oh my God. So you're at a job and something just don't feel right. You like, I'm not happy here. I don't feel good here. My manager, my boss, my supervisor, they don't sit right with my, like, I literally feel uncomfortable just being, right? That is your intuition screaming at you at that point. It probably had already given you signs, but when it starts affecting you mentally, when it starts affecting your body and you start feeling drained or you start feeling down when you walk into places, your intuition is like on fire at that point and it's begging you to listen to it. Listen to those moments. If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel safe to your nervous system, it is not for you. If it doesn't feel calm and at peace, and I'm not saying that things aren't going to be hard, but the hard doesn't disrupt your being. Does that make sense? I've gone through money troubles. I've gone through relationship issues. But since I've been on this path of trusting my intuition and actually being guided by it, when I'm in those moments, it don't shake my spirit up. You can't break me in that kind of way. And if I ever felt like, if it started feeling like it was shaking me up, I knew it was my cue to leave. If I start questioning my reality, if I start trying to silence my feelings or those gut feelings to try to appease the words that you're saying or like appease you or make you feel comfortable, that's my cue to walk away, right? Because now I'm going against what feels natural to me, if that makes sense. So if you're in a connection with someone and you don't feel fulfilled, if you don't feel, there's always that little voice. Oh, I want to give y'all an example without giving people away in my life. You have people in friendships where you could say, I feel like this person is jealous of me, but they say these things, they support me. I'm going to stop you right there. When you talk to me in that kind of way, I'm going to push back on you. Why are you scared to say that you feel that they feel jealous? What are you picking up on to sense that jealousy, right? And when I push back, those people tend to have reasons why they feel that way. They know it's there, but that person talks like this, or they say these things. I'm going to forever push you to trust that feeling because that feeling didn't have any emotions tied to that. You're not like, oh, they feel jealous and I'm scared, or like there's no fear pushing you to believe that they're jealous. It was literally just, I feel that way. And then her ego or his ego takes over and it's like, well, if I feel that way, I might lose my friend. I don't want to lose my friend. What if I'm wrong? Fear. Now you're adding that level of being scared to it, scared to admit what the truth is. That's you going against your own intuition. And now you're stuck in a cycle of, I feel this way, but they're saying this, but I feel this way. You see how it like contradicts you and then it brings anxiety into your life. Now you feel anxious about this friendship. Now you're not trusting yourself. And you're allowing that person's energy to infiltrate your own and what you feel down to your core, right? Now you're stuck with that unsure feeling. Now you're stuck with playing those scenarios over and over and over in your mind, right? While they're just moving along in their jealousy or not. So I like to push back on people so that they can really understand, listen to that small voice, even if it doesn't make sense logically, because people are good at masking. People are good at pretending that everything is fine when it's not, okay? You feel it, and if you start feeling that conflicting energy, I'm probably repeating myself. If you start feeling that conflicting energy, that's you going against your intuition. If you start spiraling about a situation. I feel this way, but they're saying this. You're going against your own intuition, okay? I can tell you your intuition is right 100% of the time. My intuition has never, ever, ever been wrong. I have been wrong because I feel that, for example, my marriage that I was once in, I knew that that person wasn't for me. Deep down, I knew that that person wasn't for me. And I feel like everybody watching this can relate in some kind of way. Whether you know that that person is or not for you, you can relate to that feeling that I'm talking about. Any relationship that has ever ended, any situation you've ever been in with a friend that's ended, there tends to be a thing that everybody says, shit, I knew it. Something told me. That something that told you was your intuition, okay? Listen to that. You won't end up in those situations anymore. Also, your intuition is a guide. It literally guides you down your path, and it keeps you in alignment to what is the highest good for you and what serves you the most, right? And I love this analogy that I told my family before. How you know that you're in alignment, how that you know that you are in alignment is things will seem fitting. They won't keep going against you. You won't be spiraling when it comes to those things. You won't be, how do I explain this? When you're in alignment, things will make sense. When you're in alignment, growth will be occurring. All right? When you're in alignment, you don't get pushback. If it's pushing you and it's trying to course correct or push you down another path, that's not for you. If you have to fight against yourself to make something work, it's not for you. And I love to say that abundance is everywhere. And I love to say that, for example, here's an analogy that I like to use about being in alignment. I'm going off track just a little bit, but it's all going to tie back together. If you've been wanting strawberries your entire life and you're walking down a path in a forest, you've been wanting strawberries, right? And all you see are blueberries and raspberries and blackberries. You see apples, you see oranges, you never see strawberries, right? And you've been feeling like, I should probably turn around. I should probably turn around and go on another path. You keep ignoring that. You're like, I gotta see some strawberries at some point. But you know, you've been, that feeling, it doesn't have any emotions tied to it. It's just, I should do this. You ignore that based on fear. Damn, I've been going down this path for 2 years now. If I turn around, what if I'm wrong? Fear. What if I go down this path and now I don't have any berries? What if it's bare? Fear is keeping you from moving on your intuition. One day you listen to that little feeling, that little sound, that little voice, that little gut feeling. I'm just gonna go down this other path. You go down the path and now you see all the strawberries you could ever want. Those strawberries have always been in that forest. But because you were not listening to your intuition, because you allowed fear, your ego, to take over, it kept you down a path 2 years strong, not getting anything that you want, struggling, okay? Soon as you listen to your intuition, now all the strawberries are now somehow there. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to walk a long way for it. They're just there in your lap, just right there. Get them all you want, fresh, ripe. Get basketfuls. All because you decided to listen to your intuition. Yes, because you took that long, because the longer you go without listening to it, the harder that trek back, that harder the path back is going to be. But it's still going to make sense. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So because you waited 2 years to finally listen to it, now you got to take that long path back just to go down a path you've been told, like yourself has been telling you to go down. So yes, it might seem a little off, or a little harder because you waited so long, guess what you're doing though? You're not getting any pushback. You already know what's on this path. You know you're gonna have all blueberries and raspberries and blackberries on your way back. That don't sound scary. It's like, okay, I know what I'm doing, so let me just go back. Let me go this way. And as soon as you turn that corner, all the strawberries are there. This is why I am huge on people trusting their intuition, because I don't want you to have to take 2 years down the wrong path and turn around and have to technically start over. I don't want that for people. I want you to feel it, understand it, and have the easiest life you can possibly live, the most peaceful journey you can possibly have. That comes with friendships, connections, like relationships. That comes with career. If something doesn't feel right, if you keep getting pushback, if you keep pushing towards something and you're getting met with all the opposition, and you hear that little voice that's like, go this way, listen to it. That is your intuition. Remember to put percentages on what you're feeling in that moment. How much of what I'm feeling, fear-based. If it's fear, you have to learn how to be brave. You can't be brave without fear. I don't want you to feel like fear is a weakness. I don't want you to feel like something is wrong with you, because that is a natural feeling. And for the rest of your life, you're going to have moments that trigger your ego because it's trying to protect you. But with work, you can limit that. You can limit that and move bravely. I always talk about stepping out on faith. That faith is your intuition. If you're feeling guided and pushed to do something, even if it don't make sense to other people, do it. If you're in connections where you're feeling unfulfilled, I do not believe we are meant to be on this earth to be fucking miserable. I do not believe that we are on this earth to live subpar lives, okay? And I trigger a lot of people when I say that, because a lot of us are living subpar lives. A lot of us are settling. A lot of us are with people that we know deep down it's probably not it. But we're scared because we've been down that path with the blackberries and raspberries for 2 years, and I'm scared to start over. Even though I keep getting that nudge. I'm scared. Where do I go? What you want is out there. People will make you feel like it's not real. People want you to believe that it's fairy tale. It's not. And I hope that everybody who has listened to their intuition, who have that beautiful, peaceful life, comment on this video so you can see the shit is not fake. This is absolutely real. This is real life. And once you learn to listen to your intuition, that heavy burden that people feel, I feel like a lot of us feel like we're carrying a lot on our shoulders. That's the weight of people's opinions. That is the weight of society and the pressures that are placed on us by society. I'm about to say something and it might hurt people or it might aggravate people and it might piss people off. I have pissed people off, but this just is what it is. People are in connections, marriages. People don't realize, like, since childhood, right? Women usually are taught, when people do nice things for you, like take you out on dates and pay your bills and things like that, that means they love you, right? And when boys are taught growing up, find you somebody that just can cook and clean that's nice to you, or find you somebody that you can halfway stand, someone who's not gonna cheat, someone who's loyal. Pretty much loyalty, I feel like, is really pushed on men when they're younger. Find somebody loyal. Find somebody that's gonna be there, and it's just that on that. While all of those things are beautiful things, people always ignore. They don't like to say this because they're scared. And I'm gonna tell you why they're scared, but they don't want to say, find somebody you connect to. Find somebody who feels safe. Find somebody who you genuinely feel that loving, deep bond with, right? A lot of things have been led to be a superficial thing. And for men and women, this is not a who or who's worse. I feel like we're all taught these things. And I feel like that comes from history. I feel like a lot of us, well, society, especially in the Western world, for a long time there, women depended on men, right, to take care of everything financially because they legally could not do it themselves. And then you have men who were not allowed to feel. They were told they were weak or soft for having feelings. Here's a disclaimer, not a disclaimer, a PSA. Men have feelings. Y'all just feel like anger is not one of them, and that is a feeling, okay? That is emotion, alrighty? You just skipped sadness, you skipped embarrassment, you skipped worry or fear, and skipped straight to anger, okay? Anger is the last place you get to if you don't address the feelings prior to that. So men do have feelings, men do have emotions. It just comes out as anger because they don't know how to navigate. Anyway, that's another situation. My point is, not all men, because there's a lot of people healing, and I'm very proud of you, and that is beautiful. My point is that, and we also have women who aren't in touch with their emotions as well. They react. They don't want to admit that they're jealous. They don't want to admit that they're hurt or sad or anything like that. Anyway, my point is, I feel like instead of looking at women now having equal rights to, pay, and like, well, we're supposed to, having equal rights in general, instead of looking at as a slight to men or that, we're being masculine, I feel like it should be looked at as a reward in society. Now, men don't have to be looked at as just a bank account. Men don't have to be looked at as just a protector in the physical realm, like just for their ability to fight, right? We're humans. We're all complex. We all have emotions and feelings. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel connected to somebody. And a lot of people are walking around out of fear of never finding that. So what do? They settle. I don't think that could ever happen to me. So I'm just going to find somebody that is loyal to me. Or I'm just going to find somebody that'll pay my bills. But what that ends up doing is putting you in a relationship or a marriage where you feel unfulfilled, where you feel stifled, where you feel like there's no growth. There's no growth together. I'm just here. I feel bored. I feel lonely. I think the worst feeling is feeling lonely when you have somebody laying next to you. I think that's worse than being alone, actually. And I say that because when you do end up in those connections, something told you it wasn't for you. You're in that connection right now, and you feel like it's not for you, but you're scared to leave. That is your ego. You're either scared of what people might think. You're scared of what it looks like. You're scared of how the other person is feeling. And I also want to say this, okay? 9 times out of 10, if you're very unhappy in a relationship, if you're feeling very unfulfilled in a relationship or a connection with anybody, that person also feels that way. Whether they're self-aware enough to understand themselves or understand their feelings, or self-aware to admit it, they feel it. There's no way one person can be that upset or unhappy and that other person doesn't know or doesn't feel the same way. Some people like the physical aspects or the financial aspects of connections, so they tend to hold on for that reason. A lot of people are together out of codependency. You're there because I've been with you for this long. I've known you this long. Who else should I be with? People are there because I don't want to hurt the other person. And I just want you to know, when you say things like that, That's ego driven as well, because it's not about you, right? It's not about you when it comes to hurting the other person, is what I'm saying. Your goal in life should be to be as honest as you can to yourself and to others. And what happens from that is supposed to happen. All right. Your goal should be feeling fulfilled, feeling joy. Everybody deserves happiness. Everybody deserves to feel safe. Their nervous system, I mean, and just safe in general. Everybody deserves to feel that connection with somebody because it is real. And if we have less people and connections that they know they don't want to be in deep inside, I feel like the less cheating would be going on. And I know there's so many layers to this, but I'm just giving you the first few layers, I guess. I'm peeling back the first few. The intuition and learning to understand that, what it sounds like, what it feels like, and actually listening to it, despite what it looks like logically, because this world is shitty, and it teaches you to be fucking miserable. It teaches you to be unhappy, and they teach you that that's the norm, and it's not. It's not. It's you can feel peace, and you can feel love. You can literally have everything that you want. All right. But it does start with listening to what you truly feel inside. It starts with addressing that you have fears and that you're scared. But I promise everything that you could ever want is always and consistently out there. That person for you, the job, the career, the funds, it's all out there. It's just you're not in alignment because you're not listening to your intuition. You're not trusting that feeling, and you're feeling anxiety about it because you just won't go with it. And I know things are hard. I know it's better, or it's easier said than done. But the more you could practice it with little things. It could be as simple as my intuition is telling me to go this way home, so I'm going to take that way home. My intuition is telling me to call this person I've been thinking of or feeling like calling, even though we didn't really end on good terms. I feel like I should call this person. Listen to that. You never know what might come of it. I was driving down the street during a snowstorm a few weeks ago, and there was a woman walking, and I was scared to pick her up, but everything in me was just like, pick her up. And I was scared, and I had to realize, you're scared. Why are you scared? Had my intuition been, don't pick her up, this person is dangerous, I would have listened to that. But that's not what my intuition was telling me. It was telling me, grab her, get her, she needed a way home. And for a minute there, I wouldn't listen to it, and that intuition just crept up. It was creeping up. And I stopped and I got her. She was hesitant to get in, but she eventually got in. And when she looked at me, she thanked me, and she was like, I literally was having an asthma attack. And not having one, she was saying her asthma was bothering her, and she felt like she was about to pass out because of the weather and how cold it was. And I saved her. I helped her. That's what she was saying. And those little moments matter. It's like, see, okay. And it's like a nod to yourself that was my intuition. I did exactly what I was supposed to be and being called to do at the moment. We all have it. We're all fucking magical. We all have that power. Again, if you ever felt somebody staring at you, you got an intuition. If you ever felt like I should call somebody because I feel like something's wrong, and you called them and something's wrong, that is your intuition. If you ever felt like, that person don't mean me any well, and then you move on and you keep going, not move on, if you still ignore that and you end up continuing a friendship and they show their true colors down the line, I should listen to my intuition. Those little nods are trying to tell you, listen to me more. If you listen to your intuition more, you have less anxiety. You tend to have less pushback in life. Things literally flow. And I'm speaking from experience, where my life was giving me hell on earth. When I started listening to my intuition, everything just started falling into place. It's like I'm being guided one step at a time. It's like a cheat code to life. We have it all the time. We've always had it. Society and the rules that are placed upon us because they want us to follow blindly. People are miserable, so they want other people miserable. And honestly, if I'm being honest, it can be a scary thing because, again, it doesn't make sense logically. Walking away from a company that offers XYZ, but everything in you is telling you to go this way, doesn't make sense logically, but somehow it works out. Somehow you end up in a better position than you were. Leaving one relationship or a marriage. You walk away from it because you don't feel fulfilled. You don't feel it was aligned with who you are and where you're trying to go in life. You leave it, although you're going to be the bad guy in some people's eyes. It ends up being better than where you were, right? When it comes to, and I want to make mention of something as well. This is not for asshole people. This is not for just dicks. This is not for selfish, I'm doing everything for my own needs, fuck everybody. It's not for those kind of people. What I'm about to speak to is very specific when it comes to relationships and people. I've been coming across a lot of people within the last 2 years. A lot of people who are in connections with people and they know they should leave. They know there's no growth there. They feel stuck. They feel like this is not for me, and everything in them feels. And I'm not talking about, oh, things are going wrong right now and you're trying to jump ship. No, I'm talking about just that inner knowing. There's no feelings towards it. It's just, this is how I feel. And you might have feelings of, oh, I shouldn't feel this way because we're married, or I shouldn't feel this way because of XYZ. That's your ego talking as well. But I feel like in society, women get a pass for leaving marriages or connections because they're unhappy. The man couldn't have cheated on them. They could have been taken care of. But a lot of the times, I'm not going to say all the times because I know of other times when it's not the case. When a woman wants to leave because they're unhappy, they feel unfulfilled, it's applauded, right? And it's good job, choose yourself, everything will work out, everything will be fine. But when it comes to men, there's really no societal pressures. I mean, there's really no out for a man, right? And they tend to be in situations where they got to stay, because if they leave their wife or their significant other, they're bad. Because why would you leave that person? That person loved you. If they say, oh, I didn't feel fulfilled or I was unhappy, they will be shamed, right? Let's say they're married with kids. If they leave and they take their child because I want to be a dad, I want this. Oh, you left this woman and you took the kid. Okay. Well, if we split custody, you're going to leave her with a baby? Like, there's literally no out, right? And as somebody who's been cheated on, as somebody who's been dogged out, honestly, I want to say that I always gave an out to somebody. This is why I say it's not for dicks. It's not for people who need healing. That's not what I'm talking about. I always understood, I don't know why I felt this way, but through therapy and on my spiritual journey, now it makes sense. But I always wanted people to have an out. We don't own anybody, right? And people are so attached to people, codependently attached. And they can't see themselves outside of that person. So they hold on out of fear. They hold on to that person. That you're not happy and they're not happy. If you're there because of nostalgia, if you're there because of how long you've been there. Again, this goes back to the whole, you've been down one path and you're scared to take another one, but you're not happy. You're never going to live up to your potential of who you can be as a human on this earth. You're never going to feel happiness and fulfillment. You can lie all day and say that don't matter to you, but it does. And you should listen to that feeling. I feel like if we didn't have so many unhappy, this is going to go into the whole other thing. I'm not going to do that. But I feel like if more people were connected to people that they felt intuitively guided to be connected to, if more people felt, if they were in alignment with the people that they were with, we will have more happy people in this lifetime who don't hurt other people. We'll have less people cheating. We will have, think about this, the person you choose to spend the rest of your life with, you got to lay down with them every day. You're going to spend the most of your life with that person. If you're miserable at home, you're going to somehow, that's going to like flood into other parts of your life. You're never going to be happy. You're never. This is why I might sound like you're trying to break people up. If you need to not be with that person, I'm going to stand 10 toes down on walking away. Because when you walk away and you choose what is more aligned with you and what feels the most aligned with who you are as a person and where you're going, guess what? You free that other person. A lot of people are scared to walk away. A lot of people know the truth deep down, but they're scared to admit it, or they're scared of what people might think. Okay, I am almost an hour in. I'm going to just end it with, and we could have a conversation about that another day if y'all would like. But long story short, an hour in almost, your intuition is very quiet. It is very direct. There are no emotions. There's no feelings. Your ego is very loud. It's usually fear-based. When you're going through situations, to get a better assessment of what you're feeling, you can ask yourself, how much of this is fear? What percentage can I put to it being fear? And if it is fear, question yourself. Why is it fear? What am I fearful of? What is holding me back? What am I scared of happening? That can help you navigate that to get you back to your intuition. That can silence that ego. That's how you dismantle it every time. How much of this I know to be true, and how much of this am I navigating through fear? Okay. Yeah. If there is anything else that I should cover, please let me know. I can ramble for days. I have a lot of thoughts in this big old head of mine. I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of experience. Unfortunately, fortunately. I hope that this has helped somebody. I hope that this reaches the people that it's supposed to reach. Yeah. Have a good night.